what's interesting about the paranormal and what we've learned the past 4 years is that it affects people differently. Some people can see stuff. Some people claim they're mediums and can communicate more.
Demons have haunted people across the world for centuries. While skeptics dismiss these unsettling encounters as myths or medical conditions, they are actual evidence of demonic forces at play, and we have compiled the most terrifying demon possession moments caught on tape.
But demons are looking for two things, we discover. They're looking for what we call a legal right, which is the right to be there. They are also looking for what we call a stronghold. At least that's what the Bible calls it.
Each story will leave you completely shocked.
Why am I going first? Oh my God!
Are these battles between good and evil, or just moments designed to deceive the unsuspecting? Join us as we reveal the terrifying details of 15 demonic possessions caught on camera, the televised possession. This story takes us back to the early 1990s. A live TV broadcast shocked the world as priests battled to free 16-year-old Gina from what they believed were 10 terrifying demons. Gina was a country girl from Florida. She rolled and growled during the exorcism, her eyes burning with fury.
God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit.
According to eyewitnesses, Gina called two of the demons Zion and Minga.
Gina becomes more composed and is able to describe Zion and Minga, two of the 10 different entities she claims are controlling her.
She also shouted scary prophecies of war and destruction as the priests chanted prayers. The struggle lasted hours, with the priests claiming to feel the clash of good and evil. 2 months later, Gina said she felt much better, but her fate remains unknown today. Was this a genuine possession or an exploitation of a troubled girl? The hatred in her eyes, the violent thrashing, and the perfect calm she sometimes displayed still haunt anyone who saw what happened back on that scary night. If you found Gina's story scary, the next one on our list will completely freak you out. The Chosen One. In this intense exorcism filmed among religious figures, a trembling woman fought against unseen forces as rabbis prayed. It began with a single rabbi kneeling before her. Then, the crowd chanted louder and louder. The woman screamed in agony, convulsing as the rabbis shook their fists, demanding the demon leave. The atmosphere grew tensed as her cries intensified, and the chanting reached an extreme level. At one moment, you will feel relieved. Relief sweeps through the faces of the people around her, as if the possession is ending, but the video abruptly ends, leaving everyone with unanswered questions. Did the demon truly leave or stay hidden, waiting for another opportunity to attack? Sleep haunting. Dale Pendlebury thought his restless nights were just inadequate sleep until he set up a camera. Over several nights, it captured horrifying events, his body being thrown around, demonic noises, and his haunting actions. One night, Dale sat bolt upright, staring blankly at the camera with wide open eyes before collapsing onto his bed. On the final night, his movements became even more disturbing. He gave a lifeless stare and strange behavior, just like one possessed by a demon. According to him, he felt haunted by a dark force, and he knew he was losing touch with reality. When the video got online, some viewers suggested that the footage is undeniable proof of possession, and Dale's vacant stare has shaken even the strongest people. TJ goes insane. At 3 a.m., Adam Park and his friends were gaming when strange noises started coming from T.J. quote, S room. Curious and terrified, Adam recorded as the noises grew louder and more scary. Peeking into the hall, they heard demonic sounds that sent them fleeing in fear. They summoned courage and returned to find TJ acting like a beast, laughing, growling, and moving like an animal. His erratic behavior left everyone completely shocked. Was this a prank, a mental break, or a demonic possession? Even after calming him, TJ was never the same. According to experts who saw Adam's footage, it was a demonic attack.
Yeah.
Adam confessed that the house felt cold and darker after that night. The unsettling sounds and TJ's demonic gaze remain an unbearable memory to all who witnessed it. TJ's story is nothing compared to this Pennsylvania couple's home haunted by 5 ghosts. Deanna Simpson's haunted home. Deanna Simpson's haunted home in Pennsylvania is a nightmare. Shadows dance in corners, ghostly voices whisper, and visitors feel unseen hands scratching them. A Fox News crew sent to investigate experienced it firsthand. A cameraman's wrist burned with an invisible force, leaving fresh marks. Deanna warned them the ghosts could possess anyone who got too close.
Deanna asked me, are you okay? Did you get scratched? And then I admitted, I noticed that I was like, yeah, this actually happened.
The reporter felt pinched, touched, and terrified as strange lights flickered in the house. Deanna herself claims to have been pushed downstairs and haunted by voices urging her closer. Could these spirits be biding their time to claim another victim? The house is alive with evil, and anyone who enters feels its dark grip. No visitors have escaped unshaken. Brandon versus Zozo. Brandon and his friends thought summoning spirits with an Ouija board was a joke until the board started answering. The spirit mocked them, spelling out disturbing words like no peace and no goodbye. Suddenly, Brandon's behavior changed. His laughter turned maniacal and unnatural, and his friends no longer recognized him. They claimed he was briefly possessed, lashing out violently.
That's still not funny after these. Hey.
Afterwards, Brandon seemed lost, a shadow of his former self. The friends never properly closed the ritual, and many believe this left Brandon vulnerable to the demonic force they summoned. That night, the dark energy in their home convinced many that Zozo, an evil spirit, had claimed another victim. Bob Larsson's exorcisms. Reverend Bob Larsson travels the United States, battling demons face-to-face in dramatic exorcisms. One possessed woman changed between cursing and speaking in tongues, her face twisted in rage. Bob's playful look shifted to fierce determination as he commanded the demon to leave.
How many generations? I command you, for Christ, tell me how many generations? How many?
During another deliverance, a demon mocked Bob until it finally gave up, leaving the woman limp but freed. While skeptics argue these exorcisms are staged, believers claim they're evidence of spiritual warfare. The haunted expressions, growls, and transformations during Bob's sessions leave witnesses shaken. Whether real or fake, the fear is always present. What if demons truly exist, lurking unseen until their rage is unleashed?
But demons are looking for 2 things, we discover. They're looking for what we call a legal right, which is the right to be there. They are also looking for what we call a stronghold. At least that's what the Bible calls it.
Even unbelievers feel a cold shiver of fear when they watch his sessions. Bob Larsson is not the only Christian leader who performs exorcism on our list. The next person is not who you think. Pope Francis's exorcism.
The Vatican has denied that this footage of Pope Francis shows him performing an exorcism on a disabled boy after taking Pentecostal Mass last Sunday.
This is Pope Francis. In a spontaneous moment at St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis laid hands on Angel, a man tormented by demons since 1999. As the Pope prayed, Angel's face twisted in pain, his body convulsing as if battling unseen forces. Witnesses claimed the demon was resisting, boiling under Angel's skin. Angel slumped in relief when the Pope finished, but his torment wasn't over. After 30 exorcisms failed, the Pope couldn't banish the evil entirely. Some dismissed it as hysteria or mental illness, but others saw undeniable proof of possession. What hope remains for others if the Pope's blessings couldn't free Angel? The encounter left onlookers questioning the limits of faith against the relentless grip of the spirit world. Rural possession. This scary tape is from the 1970s. This demon-possessed man is enduring unspeakable torment. The footage begins with him lying in bed, breathing heavily as a door creaks open. Then he starts ripping his fingernails off, one by one, grinning through the pain. His demonic laughter sounded as he slashed his face and throat with a razor. Bloodied and disfigured, he stares into the camera, smiling creepily. The man's troubled look and evil grin suggest something far worse than madness. Whatever was inside him caused him much suffering. The laughing victim. In this Brazilian hospital, a man shot in the face defied all logic. Despite his injuries, he stood, laughing hysterically and screaming like a madman. He growled, twisted his body like a snake, and claimed Lucifer possessed him. Witnesses watched in horror as the man defied gravity, leaning backwards without falling. Bloodied and wild-eyed, he fought anyone who approached. Was this possession, adrenaline, or drugs? Even professional doctors were shaken, unable to explain his condition and endless strength. His scary laughter and claim of demonic control left no doubt in many minds. Whether medical anomaly or actual possession, the man's behavior remains a terrifying event. The Prince of Darkness himself may have been laughing through him that day. Possession of Maurice Thal. Maurice Thal was a tomato farmer who lived a quiet life with his family until strange things started happening. He blacked out and bled from his eyes, and his wife saw two versions of him in different places at once. Blood mysteriously appeared in their home, and voices were heard without anyone around. Desperate, they turned to Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous paranormal investigators who believed demons possessed Maurice. In 1985, Bishop Robert McKenna performed an exorcism. During the ritual, Maurice's skin bubbled and cracked, and a deep gash appeared on his head. His eyes turned serpent-like, and he collapsed after the prayer. Miraculously, his skin cleared, and peace returned for a while. Years later, Maurice tragically lost control, trying to kill his wife before taking his own life.
He's going to put the gun in his mouth, he's not going to put the gun in his mouth. And I just sat there. Finally, he got the gun in his mouth, he pulled the trigger.
Did the demons ever truly leave? But Michael Taylor's possession coming up next sounds even more tragic. Michael Taylor, the man with 40 demons. Michael Taylor was a family man in England. He joined a church group to find peace. Instead, he became obsessed with the group's leader, Marie Robinson, which strained his marriage. One day, his wife accused him of infidelity in public, and Michael exploded with uncontrollable rage. It is evident that he was possessed, and local priests performed an exorcism. Over 8 hours, they expelled 40 demons, including ones of blasphemy and bestiality, but 3 remained: anger, murder, and insanity. When exhausted, the priests sent Michael home, planning to finish the exorcism later. But just 2 hours after returning, Michael brutally killed his wife, tearing her apart with his bare hands, and destroyed their family dog. Found naked and soaked in blood, Michael claimed, "It's the blood of Satan." He was later diagnosed with insanity and served 4 years in a mental institution. A haunting voice. In 1977, the Hodgson family in London lived through a nightmare.
And some disturbance. And my mum came into the room and she said, "Johnny and Janet, pack it up and sleep."
Strange noises filled their home. Furniture moved independently, and objects flew around. Even the police saw a chair slide across the room. The most terrifying part? 11-year-old Janet began speaking in a deep, raspy voice, claiming to be Bill Wilkins, a man who died in their home years earlier.
"My name is Bill Wilkins. This is my home. Get out now."
Skeptics accused Janet of faking it, but paranormal researchers couldn't explain the phenomena. Objects floated, water appeared on the floor, and fires started randomly. Janet's strange voice was difficult to interpret. Despite the controversy, the Enfield haunting voice remains one of the most compelling paranormal cases ever documented. This list would be incomplete without Annalisa Michel's story. Real Emily Rose. Annalisa Michel was a devoted Catholic in Germany. He began experiencing seizures at 16. Doctors diagnosed her with epilepsy, but medication didn't help. Soon, she claimed to hear voices damning her to hell.
"You're right, Doc. I feel much stronger now."
She avoided religious items, smelled of decay, and even licked her urine off the floor. Her parents believed demons possessed her, and after much pleading, the church approved an exorcism. 2 priests conducted 67 grueling sessions over 10 months. Annalisa claimed 6 demons, including Judas and Lucifer, tormented her. During the exorcisms, she barked, growled, and destroyed religious items. Weighing just 68 pounds, she died of malnutrition in 1976. Her parents and the priests were convicted of manslaughter. Some say she had a mental illness. Others believe she was indeed possessed. Her horrifying story inspired the film The Exorcism of Emily Rose. But the truth remains unknown, leaving a legacy of faith, tragedy, and unanswered questions. Across the continent, people all over the world have recounted hearing these unexplainable sounds in their countries, with frequent reports in different parts of the United States, New York, Chile, and South Africa, to name a few. We're about to show you video snippets of instances where these sounds have been recorded live on camera.
Guys, what is going on?
Strange sounds are being heard around the world.
As you watch and listen to this sound, perhaps you might be able to attempt some explanation as to the origin of these shocking sounds that have defied explanations. Various episodes of trumpet blaring, loud booming noises in the skies have been reported across cities in the United States. A young man living in Ohio came online to share his experience after hearing what seemed like a loud siren noise outside their home around 2 a.m. On stepping outside, there was no police vehicle or ambulance in sight, nor was there a fire truck. The biggest scare from his experience was that the loud, siren-like noise came from above, not from the street where it would be usual to hear blaring sirens. This sparked some controversy, as those online were equally intrigued. Residents in Brooklyn, New York have equally made comments about an uncomfortable humming noise around their neighborhood. While they really can't determine what the source of the noise is, some have said the sound seems more like someone rubbing the top of a crystal glass. Interestingly, they hear the sound both at night and during the day as well. Despite involving environmental protection authorities, it seemed like nothing could be done, as they couldn't hear the noise nor ascertain any sound. The fact that the sound goes and comes, and they can't determine when to expect it or when it will stop, makes it even more frightening. In the city of Utah, the neighborhood was awoken by a howling sound on their streets at about 5 a.m. Despite that a young man went out to verify what it was, there was nothing in sight. Out of fear, some called 911, but when the authorities came to check, they concluded the sound was from strong winds rushing into a slackline in the neighborhood. Yet not many agreed with it, stating that the sound was too intense to be produced from a slack line, and there was no way to prove it. Reports from different parts of the U.S. have equally recorded similar experiences, and many have been left wondering what the cause of the inexplicable sounds could be. Okay, that's the U.S. What about other parts of the world? Well, here you go. A similar occurrence in Chile also revealed fearful noise ringing through a Chilean locality. Humans and animals alike were frightened by this event, as it rang out through the still night. Many residents compared it to the sound of clanging metal, while some say it's more like a heavenly trumpet sound. A TikTok user living in Johannesburg also experienced unexplainable sounds in the early hours of the day in her home. Some other people equally reported a similar experience. With no logical explanation, some are beginning to agree that it might have something to do with the apocalypse. You think you've heard it all? Well, that's not all. There's more. Even China has not been left out from these unexplainable booms. In April 2023, locals heard 4 loud booms that were similar to those from a gas explosion so powerful it set off car alarms and rattled home windows. All efforts to trace the events to any specific activity in the region proved futile, as the military authorities denied any activity that could have produced the sounds. No jets that could have produced a supersonic effect were also flown around, nor did the sounds come from whale-watching boats in the area. To date, the mystery about these sounds is yet to be unsolved. Police in Nottingham also received several reports of unexplainable sounds in the sky from residents, as the occurrence spanned several weeks. Some residents described it as sounding like a giant blowtorch, while others said they had expected to see an aircraft somewhere in the skies or even flames, but nothing was seen.
Now, the operations manager tells us the AN-12 is a very loud plane that makes a similar sound to the one heard in that viewer video.
Some other residents, startled by the sound, described it as a whooshing, moving noise. Although various residents contacted the police, they didn't get a satisfactory answer, as they were told the source could be from moving heavy machinery somewhere. But where is this machinery located, and why was it so close? No answers have been provided. Earlier that year, a couple equally experienced unexplainable trumpet-like sounds one evening. Initially intrigued by the sound, they decided to record the sound, and to their surprise, the episode lasted up to 40 minutes. In a bid to find some explanations, the man posted the video on his social media page, where some others commented that they had experienced almost the same thing. What makes this even scary is that even Australia is not left out of this worldwide intriguing phenomenon. Residents of Melbourne equally experienced similar sounds like a low-frequency hum. Some have tried to explain that it could be happening in the individual's head, describing a condition named tinnitus that arises from an excessive use of earphones. A particular resident debunked this possibility and claimed to only hear it when he's in Melbourne. Despite how disturbing this sounds, no one has been able to say for sure what causes them. Now that this has become a worldwide event, many people, including scientists and religious people, have attempted to provide explanations around them. What could be the cause and source of these sounds? Here's what people have to say. How can we explain these sounds happening all over the world? Some researchers have begun to speculate the theory that some of these inexplicable trumpet-like sounds happening across the globe could be instances of skyquakes. You may think of it like a sky version of an earthquake, except that the processes and outcomes are obviously different from each other. When skyquakes occur, you're likely to hear loud, thunder-like booming sounds in the sky, but without any cloud in sight. The intensity of the quakes could be so low that it comes in low hums, and at other times it could be so loud that it rattles items around the home. There are various opinions about the causes of skyquakes that are worth sharing. Some people believe that since the sky is there to protect life on the Earth from all the mysterious things happening in space, then there could be a possibility that the big boom sounds may be due to big energy blasts coming from the sun. To an extent, this could make some sense if you look at how hot it could get during the day. If UV rays from the sun could be so harmful to human life, some people think that since the sky works to protect us from intense bubbles of gas that the sun throws into space known as coronal mass ejections, the sonic booms we hear all over the world may be the result of that impact. There are also speculations that natural activities on the Earth may be responsible for the sounds. Since the Earth is made of different gas combinations, they think it could be possible that some of these gases got caught up in the atmosphere while trying to escape through vents on the Earth's surface. The sky acting as a barrier could then set off those gases and cause the unexplainable sounds we hear at odd hours of the day. If you've probably heard these weird sounds in your home, and you've been worried that you're probably the only one hearing it, it might impress you to know that it's not just you. As a matter of fact, it's common in different parts of the world, and they even have their names for it. Italians call it brontidi, which implies the sound of thunder in the distance. People in Spain describe it as cielo moto, which also means skyquakes. Also, people in Bangladesh call it barisal guns because of the cannon-like sounds it gives. Japanese people describe this interesting phenomenon as cries from the sea or uminari, as they believe the sky noises are made from the sea. While all of these are yet to be scientifically proven, some of these local names might be proof that there might be some truth to the scientific theories around these mysterious sounds. The Japanese uminari explains how some people understand the skyquakes. Some follow the idea that it could be possible that these sounds occur due to the collapse of caves under the seas and oceans. When this happens, it could send loud, crashing sounds into the air that could be carried very far, startling people when they hear it. Similarly, some believe erupting volcanoes could also achieve a similar effect when the loud blasts and booms are carried across far distances. Apart from these explanations, some think that these could still be caused by military planes moving faster than the speed of sound. These reverse action in the atmosphere causes sonic boom that could also contribute to skyquakes. Some other explanations wonder if these sounds could also be due to changes in the magnetic fields of the sun or the earth. This may be logical since it happens in different parts of the world and at different times. It's not just enough to guess around in trying to figure out the source of the sounds. Scientists have equally published theories to explain them. What are they? Let's find out. There are speculations that skyquakes occur as a result of natural and man-made events occurring at far distances and reverberating through the expanse of the sky.
What's the sound?
Mo Hussein, he took video walking home one night. He's noticed the sound for over a year.
While many theories have been made in an attempt to explain skyquakes, many of them have been debunked. A group of scientists from the University of Northern Carolina have explained that the most likely cause of skyquakes could be due to the atmosphere transporting the sound from large sea waves to a far distance. Alternatively, there's also a possibility that the sound could be from shooting stars or meteors exploding against the cloud in the skies. The mystery of these sounds has also been explained by another geologist. When these noises occur, many are likely to hear them at night or when they're asleep. The living conditions in our busy world come with so much noise that we get used to it as part of our daily lives. He thinks that this could be the reason why most people don't hear it during the day in most places, or in some cases, only heard by a few people. If we hear a loud boom in the sky or metal scraping noise during the day, we can easily assume it's from a nearby construction site or factory and not pay it too much attention. This is not the case when we hear it at night when our world is calm and quiet. The sound would get anyone concerned, startled, or afraid, making us call it unusual or mysterious. Other experts think that these sounds in our skies could be caused by activities within the Earth itself. They believe that it could be a result of the movement within the Earth, a phenomenon called tectonic movement. Though the world seems visibly static and stable, scientists believe that below the stable surface of the Earth are massive moving plates. These movements have been used to explain how some of the massive features that we see on the Earth's surface, such as large mountain expanses, sprawling valleys, and other impressive land shapes, are formed. Think of the Earth as a round dough with a crusty surface, a soft interior, and a strong core that gives it its shape. However, this crusty surface isn't a whole piece, but separate parts joined together to form a whole. While it's difficult to tell each piece or plate apart, these crusty parts float above the softer interior that allows these movements without causing any form of easily noticeable chaos. The floating of the crust is caused by the movement of heat coming from the core, which makes the plate float in the direction of the current of the heat. Interestingly, this movement is not noticeable quickly, and it could take thousands of years to see any changes on the Earth's surface. Unlike the traffic control that tells you about an oncoming vehicle, there's no control over the movement of these plates. Hence, they can slide over each other, pull away, or even crash into each other. When this happens, new lands are formed on the Earth's crust, or even large valleys like the Great East African Rift Valley, and it could also lead to volcanic eruptions. It could also widen the ocean coast, or deepen trenches in the ocean. There are so many amazing things about our world as we know it, and many that are yet to be uncovered. If seemingly complex things like these can lead to major changes in the Earth apart from what we already know, there's no doubt that physical processes like these could also be responsible for the loud sounds in the sky that we hear all over the world. Now here's the challenge that's yet to be solved. Since all of these are speculations, how do we know for sure? What if this doesn't explain it? What if there's more to these sounds? Could these sounds be the apocalyptic trumpet? These sounds are not the routine noise you might expect to hear in your neighborhood. Strange as they already are, they originate from the skies instead of the ground that many are used to. And when people look up to ascertain the source of the noise, they are left with nothing to see except the gaping emptiness of the sky above. Even more alarming is the fact that these sounds do not occur the same way. While some have noted it to sound like clashing metals, some say it sounds like blaring trumpets. For some, it's like a low-toned hum or constant buzzing, and for others it's a loud boom in the skies with nothing in sight. This has led to a frenzy of curiosity with people wondering where the sounds emanate from and what they mean. This unexplainable noise continues to leave many uncertain about what to expect about the future of the human race and what living on the Earth will become. Various speculations and theories are emerging to explain them. For instance, some have said these heavenly sounds feel like the echo of many trumpets in the heavens. Others say it could be some secret government weapon testing going on, while some feel it could be the howl or cry of wild animals carried in the wind from faraway distances. If this was all, maybe we wouldn't need to be worried about these sounds. But some have tendered an interesting possibility that makes the phenomenon even scarier. They think these sounds may be the apocalyptic trumpets that mark the end of age as described across various religious and cultural prophecies. Could this truly be the case? Religious folks have tried to provide their explanation for this phenomenon. For them, there's more than meets the eye, and this has nothing to do with any physical changes in the earth or secret government operations. These are holy signals. The end is coming, they continue to say. In the biblical book of Revelations, prophecies about the apocalypse and catastrophes that would happen to humanity have been spelled out and are now topics of intense debate. They think it's no coincidence that people are hearing trumpet-like sounds in the skies above their homes, and they've taken to various social media platforms to sound their warnings. But it's hard to prove that this is true, as there are many divergent views about it.
Humming noise that would come in kind of a wave pattern. It's over long periods of time, so it's not just for 10 or 15 minutes and goes away like a train.
While some think the metallic sounds and booms are sounds of celestial wars going on between angels and demons, some say it's the blast of heavenly trumpets signaling the apocalypse. Others think the sound has nothing to do with the biblical prophecies. They believe that when the world reaches the true end of age, the trumpet sounds will only be heard by a select righteous few and not everyone. They also say that it would happen simultaneously across the world, not at different times and in different places like we're experiencing. With this divergence in views, it is hard to tell if these sounds are truly apocalyptic trumpets or if it's just something else we're yet to discover. While we await more proven answers to these puzzling events, thank you for staying with us. Which of the demonic possession stories do you find most disturbing? Share your opinions with us in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen, and you will enjoy it.